Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video I will be showing you how to prepare a delicious ceviche. And for that recipe, these are the ingredients. So we're going to be using 2 pounds of shrimp, and these 2 pounds of shrimp have they are raw and they have the shell on. They have been deveined, so they've been cleaned up. We're also going to need 1 package of tostadas, and I like to buy the thin ones. These are the thinnest ones that I can find. We're going to need 1 bunch of cilantro, some key limes, and I have about 15 to 18 key limes. Depending on how juicy they are, then we'll be able to tell how many we need. We're also going to use some ground black pepper, and I like to grind mine freshly, so that's why I'm going to be using that one. Some sea salt, 1 purple onion, some avocados, 1 cucumber, and 2 roma tomatoes. I also like to use this little tool here because it's going to squeeze out all the juice from the limes. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. I'm now cutting the shrimp, and I grab about 3 pieces of shrimp and I start cutting it in tiny little pieces, because remember, the tinier the pieces, the faster it's going to cook with the lime. So you want to do this with all of your shrimp. Make sure that every single shrimp is cut up. You can also leave it whole, but it will take a little bit longer to cook. I've seen places that they sell the tostadas with the whole shrimp, which is totally fine, but I prefer to chop up my shrimp. I am using a glass bowl, but if you have a plastic bowl, that should work fine too. Or even if you want to do it in a pan, like an aluminum pan, you can go ahead and do that. So pick your favorite bowl. I now have all my limes cut up, and I'm going to begin squeezing out the lime juice from each one. I am also going to be adding the salt in this step. And make sure that your shrimp is covered in lime juice, because this is what's going to cook the shrimp, okay? So you don't want to eat it raw. And then also I cover it with saran wrap because it just holds in, like, I feel like it just cooks faster. We are not going to put this in the refrigerator. This should take about 30 minutes. That is the usual time that I leave it for. But if you want to leave it longer, like if you want to prepare it like the night before, that is totally fine also. Just make sure that you put it in the fridge, because you don't want to leave shrimp, any type of meat or seafood, you don't want to leave it out in not being in the refrigerator, because it is not healthy. You don't want the meats to pick up any type of bacteria. So make sure that it is covered. If you are going to prepare your ceviche that same day, make sure that you just cover it, leave it for 30 minutes, and then after that you will continue with the next step. And after squeezing all the limes, this is what it should look like. Make sure that you take out any of the seeds because you don't want to bite into those. And it should look like this. I am now going to be adding the sea salt. And I'm using about 1 full tablespoon of salt. And just make sure that you mix everything very well. We are now ready to cover it, and I am going to grab a piece of saran wrap, the plastic wrap, and I'm going to place it right on top of my bowl. And I'm going to leave it for about 30 minutes. If you want to leave it longer, go ahead and do that. I like to leave it for 30 minutes because it doesn't really take that long. When you add a lot of the lime juice, it won't take too long to cook. And now we're moving on to the vegetables. So we're going to begin by cutting our tomatoes. And I am going to be cutting 2 Roma tomatoes into tiny little pieces. Feel free to add more tomato if that's what you want. Or even if you want less tomato, you can go ahead and do that too. Next, we are going to be chopping up our cilantro. And now we're going to cut our purple onion. And next is going to be our cucumber. And I am going to peel the cucumber. So make sure you peel it all the way. And then I'm going to cut it in tiny little pieces as well. But I do want to point out, I take out the seeds because they are very watery. They retain a lot of the water. And I don't like the water in my ceviche. So I just take those out by inserting the knife right in the middle and kind of pushing out the seeds. So that's how I cut up my cucumbers. And then I just cut it up in tiny little pieces. And we are now at our final step, And I'm going to remove the saran wrap, and you can see the shrimp is cooked all the way. And you can see it changed color. So it changes from this gray to a more pinkish white color. And that's when you know that it has been cooked in that lime. And I'm going to start removing some of that extra liquid. I like to remove this because I don't like to consume it. I feel like some of that gray color goes into this liquid. And also, if there was a little bit of a vein left, I don't like to consume that either. So I like to remove this extra lime juice. But you can go ahead and add more of the lime juice and squeeze just a few more limes if you like it more watery. It does taste a lot like lime, so you don't even need it. And at this point, if you need to add a little bit more of the salt, then you go ahead and do it at this point. And we're also going to be adding the vegetables and mixing everything together. And we are now ready to prepare our ceviche tostadas. And I have a little bit of mayo. And now what I'm going to do is grab the tostada and just put a little bit of mayo on the tostada. Then I'm going to spread it very thinly because you only need a tiny little bit. This is going to help the ceviche stick to it. And that way when you take a bite, it doesn't fall like all over the place. So just top your tostada with the ceviche. And then also remember, you can use any type of hot sauce, Tapatio, Valentina, any type of hot sauce that you like. We like all the hot sauces. So we have about 20 bottles. That's what we're going to be using. And then top it with the avocado. And this is how you serve a delicious ceviche tostada. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Goodbye.